Hello, welcome back to the channel, Doctor to Christ. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing 5 reasons why Jesus is not a prophet in Islam. Now, before I get into the 5 reasons, I quickly want to start this video by saying to all Muslims clicking on this video, please do not think I'm trying to attack you. I'm just trying to wake people up, all people. I'm not a religious person, so I'm not a Christian trying to attack Islam, but I am a born again child of God, and I follow Jesus Christ's instruction of being born again. And I do know the true loving Father that we call God. And that there is some truth in religions, but there's also a lot of lies in religion that I'm trying to expose. And I know you've clicked on this video if you're a Muslim and you're thinking you want to hate me, you want to debunk me, but that feeling you have, that's just purely egotistical. And you're trying to protect the religion you were born into. But just please hear me out. And if you listen to what I say with this video with a reasonably open mind, I think you'll come to the end of it and say, you know what? This guy actually has a point. He's making some fair points. Now, the main reason I'm making the video is because when I say about Jesus, a lot of Muslims will say, oh yes, Jesus is one of our prophets, as if like they're trying to get common ground. But when I look into it, I'm like, is he really? I mean, you don't exactly follow his teachings. So if you look at the next 5 reasons, you'll see why Jesus isn't really a prophet in Islam. Even though you may accept him, you don't follow his teachings. So let's get into the 5 reasons here. The first reason is Jesus Christ was non-violent. He said, for all that take the sword shall perish by the sword. Now we all know that Prophet Muhammad and in Islam, violence is very much occurring. You know, there is one quote from Prophet Muhammad that says, then kill the disbelievers wherever you find them, capture them and besiege them, etc., etc. And I know many Muslims will say, yes, but this is in times of war. And okay, fair enough, that may be acceptable, but there's multiple occasions throughout the Quran and Prophet Muhammad said violence is acceptable, such as killing apostates, etc., etc. And even in the harshest scenarios, Jesus Christ never responded with violence. For an example, when Jesus was captured by the Romans, one of his disciples attacked one of the guards and like chopped his ear with a sword, and Jesus rebuked his disciple and said, do not use violence, essentially. So again, why has one prophet, Jesus, come in teaching non-violence, and then another prophet of God teaching nothing but violence? Again, contradicts itself, doesn't make any sense. Now, the second point is on marriage. Jesus was saying to his disciples, he's saying that marriage was supposed to be between a man and a woman. And regarding divorce, he said to his people, because of your hard hearts, Moses allowed you to divorce your wives. It was not like that from the beginning. And I say to you, whoever divorces his wife, except for sex sins, and marries another, is guilty of sex sins in marriage. Whoever marries her that is divorced is guilty of sex sins in marriage. So Jesus is given, a prophet of God is given commandments on how to carry out marriage. And basically saying, if you marry someone who's divorced, then you are guilty of sex sins. And again, let's have a look how it contradicts with Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad married, I think it was 12 wives or whatever it was. And they were all divorcees except Aisha, who was 6 years old when he married her. So again, completely contradicted. Doesn't make any sense. Now, the next third point is regarding sinners. Jesus came into the world to save fallen human beings. You know, people who disbelieved, people who were sinners. Jesus Christ didn't come to kill them, harm them, hate them. He came to love them and show them the love of the Father and God's true love and mercy. And Jesus Christ was the perfect embodiment of that. Whereas in Islam, generally, if you don't follow the religion, it condemns sinners, it kills sinners. So if somebody leaves the religion, you're killed. Whereas someone leaves Christ or leaves God, well, guess what? Christ came to save you. That's the love, the true love of the Father. He will always fight for you. He will always be there trying to win you back. He would never, ever try to harm you or anyone. That is the true love of the Father. Anybody who believes anything other is completely deceived. Okay, number 4, Jesus Christ taught to love your enemies. His teachings were, don't just love your own. If you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim, if you're a Jew, if you're an Englishman, if you're a Pakistani, Whoever you are, don't just love your own people, love everyone. He's saying that's the true nature of good. He said, what good are you if you only love your own kind? You're no good. He said, love your enemies, do good to them who persecute you, etc., etc. And then Prophet Muhammad comes along and again teaches the opposite. Hate the disbelievers, fight the disbelievers. Completely contradicts God. I mean, what's God playing at? He keeps contradicting himself. And fifth and finally is the topic of slavery. Now, we know that Prophet Muhammad had slaves, and I get that there's some logic behind what a lot of Muslims are saying, but when I study it as well, some of it says, yes, you get the slaves to save them, and then if they convert to Islam, then you free them, but if they don't, then you don't free them. So it's not exactly that great a news. But what did Jesus teach? Jesus said, and he came into the world, for even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for the many. So Jesus was very humble. He did not come to own slaves. He was a slave of God to serve man and give his life for the people and for the world. And just to advance how humble he was, he even washed his own disciples' feet. And he said to his disciple, look, this is the example I give to you. You know, no one is greater than the Father. Love one another. Beautiful, beautiful teachings. So that is my 5 reasons why I do not consider Jesus to be a prophet in Islam, because it completely contradicts. As I said, you have God. Why would God send Prophet Jesus to come into the world and teach 5 teachings? And then another prophet who's the final prophet, but his teachings completely contradict his previous prophets. Doesn't make any sense at all. And this is what happens when I study religions. God is always contradicting himself. Now, what the question you need to ask yourself is, look at the teachings, look at the lives of these 2 prophets, and which one do you think represents the true Father, the true loving Father who's supposed to be all loving, all merciful, all wise? Is it Jesus or is it Muhammad? And just look into your heart, and I think the answer will be revealed to you. As I said at the beginning of my video, remove your ego from the situation and it'll all make sense. And on that note, God bless everyone, and God loves everyone, and he wants you to return. And there's no greater blessing than knowing the true Father. And when you know the true Father, you see how absolutely absurd religions are. And I'm including all religions in that. Even Christianity. Jesus taught the teachings, but men have ruined his teachings. But the beautiful thing is men and women of Christ are waking up. The Father is waking us up so we can get the true teachings out. And maybe we're bringing in a new age of peace that was prophesied for thousands of years. And maybe a Messiah or something will happen. But we can move beyond the pettiness of religion and religious arguments. God bless everyone. Goodbye.